If you want to pump your body and expand your mind, there's only one place to go. Mind Pump. Mind Pump with your hosts, Sal DiStefano, Adam Schaefer, and Justin Andrews.
Hey, guess what, guys?
What's that?
It's Mind Pump time.
Of course it is.
All right, look, this episode is chock full of fitness, but for the first 47 minutes, we have fun conversation time. Here's what we talked about in the first half of this episode. We brought up the FDA CBD hearing. That's a lot of acronyms there. Yeah. I guess the government is looking into CBD, into whether or not they're going to approve it, although it's still being sold right now. I don't know. Anyway.
Late to the party.
Our favorite source of CBD hemp products is Ned. Now, they sell full spectrum hemp extra.
Oh, spectrum,
yeah, spectrum too.
Lots of spanking.
Try doing that with it.
Yeah.
But it's full spectrum hemp oil extract, so it's got multiple cannabinoids, not just CBD. They're the best ones on the market. All the other ones either don't have what they say they have in them or they're crap. Anyway, if you go to helloned.com/mindpump, you'll get 15% off your first purchase.
Yeah.
Then I talked about the crazy case of the 16-year-old girl who's facing child pornography charges for sending a video of herself, which is kind of crazy. We talked about the Department of Justice coming after Google, calling it a monopoly on advertising. That's weird. Apple is breaking up iTunes. They're actually breaking up into segments. This may be a good thing for podcasting.
We'll see.
Guess who started watching Game of Thrones? This guy. Adam brought up a new show on Netflix called Bad Blood. Justin talked about Cobra Kai on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
I talked about the Aladdin movie. We talked a lot about films, didn't we? Mm-hmm. And Justin talked about how he was shooting pigeons this weekend. Excuse me, clay pigeons this weekend. Yeah. Stop freaking out, everybody.
Calm down.
And I talked about how I gave my son Organifi Pure to get his brain buzzing while he's working for us today. And apparently it worked for him. Anyway, Organifi is the maker of organic, effective supplements. They have green juices, gold juices. They have red juice that's good for pre-workout, protein powders. Anyway, they're all organic. We like them. If you go to Organifi.com/mindpump and use the code mindpump, you'll get 20% off. Then we start talking about fitness. Here's what we talked about. The first question was, we have an opinion on Olympic lifts. We talk about them being too complex for most people. The question is, are kettlebells a good replacement? Are they good for average people to do? Do they give you a lot of the same types of benefits?
Short answer, yes.
The next question, what's a great way to strengthen bones? This person was told that they needed to sprint to strengthen their bones, but we have a better suggestion. The next question, this person wants to know if they're not feeling it for the day, should they still go to the gym or should they take that day off? And the final question, if we could have a day to eat whatever we want with no consequences, what would we eat all day long? That part of the episode would get a little lecture-y, but whatever. That's what we like to do.
Just add cheese on everything.
Also, this month, one of our newest programs, Maps Strong, 50% off. Now, this program is actually one of my personal favorites. I love doing this program. I noticed a lot of muscle growth in my back, posterior chain. My girlfriend noticed a lot of glute development. It is inspired by strongman training, which means you will be doing some unconventional lifts in your gym, and you'll be adding some stamina and strength components. So there are work session days where you're doing lots of carries and lots of alternative type strengthening movements. Now, you don't need special equipment for Map Strong. You can do this in any gym, but the results you get are anything but normal. Again, this is a very effective, different kind of program, and it's half off. Here's what you do. Go to mapsstrong.com. That's MAPSSTRONG.com and use the code STRONG50, STRONG50, no space, for the discount. Do it now because this month is the only month we'll be doing this.
T-shirt time!
And it's T-shirt time.
Oh, shit, Doug. You know it's my favorite time of the week.
Oh, yeah.
Can we add guns after that or something?
Oh, we could.
Yeah,
bang, bang, bang.
Pistolas.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, so we have quite a few reviews in iTunes this week.
We made
the soon-to-be-departed iTunes.
We made him feel guilty.
Yeah, so we have 5 winners. We have Su Chan Yang, The View from Scott's Office, TL2 Fit, Coach Grasta, and Gat D281. For Facebook not so many reviews. We have Selena D and Dan Salinas. All of you are winners. Send the name I just read to iTunes at mindpumpmedia.com. Send your shirt size, your shipping address, include your Instagram handle, and we'll get that shirt right out to you.
Sounds like the best odds are on Facebook.
Let's go, Facebook.
Oh, boy. Guess what happened on Friday?
Ooh, shooky dookie.
What happened on Friday?
FDA held its first hearing with manufacturers and scientists to learn more about the possible impacts of long-term CBD use.
I love how the FDA is like a million years too late.
Yeah.
There's already ice cream with CBD, FDA.
Wait a
What were you,
minute.
dude?
Well, so that's
Where are you now?
So that's what manufacturers are urging the FDA to set up the framework to legally add CBD to food products, and mainly because it's getting so out of control. It's just getting to the point where everybody is doing it, and they're wanting them to come in and regulate some of it. So, and I don't know which side I'm on here, because there's a part. I think we all talk about we're not for the most part we're not fans of regulation on stuff, right? Let the market decide.
Yeah, let consumers decide.
Let the consumer decide if they think it's necessary to have CBD soap. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Let them fools decide. And if companies want to go put worthless shit like that in product like that, and people are going to buy it, then so be it. But then there's the other side of me too. That's like, man, I am a firm believer in some of the positive benefits of CBD and companies like Ned. It's the reason why we work with them. But then I see all this other stuff, and then I feel like it kind of devalues a company like that.
Dude, this reminds me of, years ago, there was a supplement that would be on the market. You can still find it nowadays. It's called ecdysterone, and it's a plant sterol. It's also an insect hormone, but it's found in plants. And there were studies that showed that it built incredible muscle, and people got good results from it. And so what companies did is a whole bunch of supplement companies came out and said, here's our ecdysterone supplement. The problem was they didn't have any ecdysterone in there. It was just all bullshit. And so what ended up happening is you had this judgment being placed on something that may have some benefits, but the judgment was based off of all these shitty products with no active ingredient. And what's going to happen with CBD is worse, because you have Ben & Jerry's putting CBD in ice cream. You have Carl's Jr. putting CBD in a burger. You have shampoo with CBD and foot cream with CBD and fucking. I mean, I'm surprised they haven't put CBD in kids' cereal. Okay.
Yeah.
And the problem,
they're working on it.
The problem with that is CBD has real applications, but it also doesn't have all the applications. It's not like you could just spray it in the air and everyone's going to get all these benefits. And a lot of these companies are not putting efficacious amounts of CBD. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised at all if the vast majority of them had none. They just said they have, because nobody's checking. Yeah. If they had no CBD whatsoever, or if they have such a minuscule amount that it's almost like nothing. It's like homeopathic.
Well,
CBD.
and this is where I struggle with, like, am I pro regulation or not here? Because then there's parts of me that says, okay, sure, allow everybody to throw it in their ice cream, their shampoo, do whatever they want to do. But then at the bare minimum, it should be a dose that actually has some sort of benefits at the bare minimum. So they can't get away with pixie dusting stuff in their product just to jump on the bandwagon of it exploding right now and make a ton of money off of people that are naive to do the research and go, oh, wow, this isn't even enough to make a difference in my anxiety. Why the fuck am I washing myself with this $15 bar of soap?
Right.
Because it's claimed
It's woven in my underwear.
Yeah, it's like, I've been eating that Ben & Jerry ice cream every time I get anxious and with CBD. And you know what? It does
I'm getting
work.
fat, but I really feel the benefits.
It does work.
Hey, arguably arguably the best idea actually is the Ben & Jerry CBD.
I heard this is good for anxiety.
Yeah. I get so anxious at night, so I crush a pint of Ben & Jerry's with CBD. I feel amazing afterwards.
Thanks for the reason.
Totally not going to reinforce any bad relationships to food or anything like that, right? You know what I'm saying?
Not at all.
Like, I heard CBD was good for stress. I'm going to go get that burger. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's got CBD in it. It should help me out with my stress. Meanwhile, you're totally turning your food problem into a worse problem. Anyway.
I'm just glad that we linked up with Ned early, so then I don't feel like...
Well, see, here's what I like about Ned. This is what because we have a whole process before we ever partner or work with anyone. We're not easy to date, Okay, Mind Pump is a very difficult.
It's more like courting.
Yeah,
if you want to put it.
We definitely don't put out right away.
No.
And so with Ned, I got on the phone with them. I asked them a lot of questions. I wanted to see independent lab results. And here's what I liked about them: they weren't full of shit. Their lab reports, which were third party, showed that they have efficacious amounts of not just CBD, but the whole spectrum of cannabinoids that you can find in hemp. And here's why that's important. Because what you're going to find is the studies are going to show, because studies have already shown this, but more and more studies are going to continue to show that it's not just about using one cannabinoid. They work better together than they do apart. Now, THC is the one that is strictly regulated, so you can't put THC in stuff because it's still a scheduled drug. But even the studies that are done on just CBD show that CBD with a little bit of THC is better than just CBD or just THC. It's true for all the cannabinoids. And so if the thing I like about Ned is they're not just extracting CBD and putting it in their oil, and they're, the fact that they're getting it from hemp, means it's okay. What they're saying is this is full spectrum hemp oil, and it's actually concentrated, and here's your lab results or whatever. They're good. The problem, and I mean, it's a good and bad thing for them, right? They're competing in a market with a bunch of morons.
Right.
But on the other side of it, a lot of people haven't heard of Ned, and a lot of people are going to try CBD crap products, and then they're going to use them and come back and be like,
Yeah, but they have
CBD doesn't work.
integrity. I mean, they're sticking with like few products that are just focused on getting you the benefits of what the intent of using CBD is. And, not sprinkling it on top of like all these other options and food products and beauty product, all these different things that like it's just getting like out of control.
No, what CBD does is it seems to improve the way that your body works with its own natural endocannabinoids, because you make your own cannabinoids in your body. That's why you have receptors. And what CBD seems to do is just make those natural cannabinoids more effective in the body, so because it doesn't attach to the two cannabinoid receptors that we've identified. CBD doesn't even attach to those. THC does, but CBD doesn't, nor does a lot of these other cannabinoids. But what they do is they kind of have this effect on the body where it gets your other cannabinoids to work a little bit better. And the research is still limited. That's the thing. Like the best research, obviously the best research is on epilepsy. That's what actual medicine exists for with CBD.
Yeah.
But other research shows anxiolytic properties. It's that anti-anxiety kind of feeling, more social. It's not a depressant like other anxiolytic.
I'm so annoyed by the fitness community right now.
Oh, terrible.
That's pitching it hard for the recovery aspects of it. And it's like,
I have yet to see a fitness person promote CBD and actually have a good product. They're all shit. I have yet to see any of them. And I've looked at them and I'm like, okay, your CBD post-workout or pre-workout or your new CBD drops, and you look at the company, you see if they have any third-party results. They don't. It's all bullshit. You're buying fucking a placebo effect.
And the thing, too, even if it wasn't garbage, which most of them are, even if it is legit CBD, it's all of a sudden you're this pro men's physique bodybuilder guy, and now all of a sudden at post-workout you always drop your CBD. Motherfucker, you got to be a pro. You didn't even know what CBD was 2 years ago. Now you're repping it as your post-workout like all the time. Like, get the fuck out of here with that shit. Like, that's not, I mean, I've been around the marijuana industry for fucking 10 years plus now. Yeah. You never heard me on this show talking about how like, after every workout, I make sure to hit,
like BCAAs and CBD.
Yeah, drop my 2 drops to see, get the fuck out of here.
They're trying to ritualize CBD like they did with other supplements. Yes. Well, I mean, here's the deal.
I feel bad, and I have to apologize for even our own company, Ned, but I actually tell a lot of people in my DMs, like, they're like, hey, I'm thinking about using CBD now, and so I'll ask questions like, what do you want it for? Well, I heard it's great for recovery. I'm like,
I heard it's great for fat loss. I heard it's great for muscle.
Stop. You do if you don't have crazy anxiety and you're looking for things like that to get relief from it, the idea of creating it as a post-workout routine to recover faster and get more gains.
No.
Stop it.
No, I mean, it does have long-term, anti-inflammatory properties. It does. The reports that I'm getting from people helps me with anxiety and sleep, But no, it's not a performance, supplement. Unless it's helping you with like a medical issue, like, an extreme example, if you have intractable epilepsy, will CBD improve your physical performance? Yeah. Yeah, definitely will. If you have inflammatory issues that are, related to your autoimmune issues and you're finding that CBD helps with that, will it help with your performance? Yeah, because you're healthier. But other than that, these fitness guys and girls that are promoting are just, look, here's the bottom line. Does CBD build muscle? Yes, when you sprinkle it on your Dianabol pills after. Okay?
There's how you use it.
Yeah, because the physique guys and fitness people who are like, CBD, hit me, ask them how much of their steroids they're putting on with it, and then you get your answer. Get the fuck out of here with that. It's so annoying. But hey, look, at the end of the day, if you're interested in trying it out to see if it's something that you notice something from, make sure you get it from a reputable source that's got third-party testing, that's legit. Because I'm telling you right now, and this is what pisses me off with the supplement industry, because this falls under that category. The supplement industry, you ever seen that meme where the kid is riding a bike and then he puts a stick in the front tire and it flips over? Like he does it himself and he flips over and they blame someone else. That's what the supplement industry does. Why is the FDA got to come down on us all the time? Because you guys are fucking idiots. If you keep selling shit that has nothing in it, or it's got like, heavy metals or toxins in it, at some point, the FDA now has a good reason to come out and hammer everybody. And all you're going to do by selling this bullshit is have the FDA hammer down on companies that are on all the good companies. It's like, stop with that shit. Stop bullshitting, because you're making it bad for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Anyway, speaking about
stop the madness.
Speaking about big bad shit, did you guys hear about the 16-year-old girl? So this is kind of crazy, and this brings up a good discussion. There's a 16-year-old girl who made a sex tape of herself.
What?
With a boy.
Like, okay, so not masturbating, actually having sex.
No, she had with another kid that's her age, who and it was all consensual, and she shared the video to some of her friends, and it was consensual in the sense that she sent the video. The person in the video was like, "Yeah, send it off," or whatever, and her friends are all underage. Doesn't matter. She's going to be facing charges of child pornography.
Whoa. She is. Wow.
Because
she's sharing the
they're trying
video.
to make an example.
Even though it's a video of herself.
Yeah.
She is going to face charges.
That's interesting.
Well,
gnarly.
Well, think about it, dude. Here's the thing. If you get charged with child pornography, guess where your name is permanently?
Yeah, Megan's Law, right?
On a fucking list.
Yeah.
Forever.
Wow.
And then you go try and get a job, or you're dating someone, they look your name up and they see you on child.
She's going to win that. She can't lose that.
No, I think she lost it.
Oh, you think she lost it?
Yeah, I think she lost it. She's not going to go to jail. They're going to require her to take a bunch of courses and classes. And
now, where do you guys stand on that?
I don't know, man, because I kind of understand that if I don't know an example of that happening previous to this. So this is one of those cases where it's like people have a lot of eyes on it, and it's like I could see it being a deterrent for kids to share videos like that to their friends.
I think this is a parenting issue, dude.
100%.
I think that
100%.
I think this is a fucking fine or some sort of a penalty on your parenting. Like, I mean, that's to me. Here's the thing. This was something I learned when I was arrested at 16 and my car taken away from me, and I had a cop just fucking berate me for 2 hours, dude, just lecturing me on what a shitty kid I was going to be if I had kept going down this path, yada, yada, yada. And I come to find out that all the stuff that this time in my life, my bedroom set, my TV, my toys, everything I had was stuff that I had pretty much worked for and saved up and bought for myself. And he schooled me on, listen, kid, you're 17 or 16, whatever I was, that 16 at the time. You're owned by your parents. All that, and I'm like, no, I worked for it. I saved. That was my money. He's like, doesn't matter. Anything that you think is yours until you are 18, your parents own. They can auction all of it off tomorrow. There's not a goddamn thing you can do. They could burn it tomorrow. There's not a goddamn thing you can do. They own every bit of you until you are 18. That was huge and eye-opening for me. To that same point, I feel like this kid shouldn't get all the responsibility of sharing sex tape like that of themselves. It's like, where the fuck are the parents at this time?
Well, so here's what's going to happen. She's being put on probation, and she's referred for a mental health evaluation. So let's talk about those two things. First off, You're a 16-year-old girl. You share a sex video to other minors who may also be charged now, right? Because they got it, but they're all minors. And now and those kids tell the school officials, you can't tell me, and I'm sure there's kids that are terrible or whatever. You can't tell me that enough. That isn't a massively embarrassing, terrible thing right there.
Yeah.
And then mental health. Hold on a second. Let's go back for a second. Imagine if I was 16 with the technology we have today, and I had a girlfriend, pretty sure my bad judgment would have caused me to send pictures of myself and ask for pictures from her.
Yep.
So mental health, to go to
that doesn't make sense.
No, this girl's already been probably tortured over it.
Oh yeah, totally. Just the embarrassment of it, and
her reputation and all that shit. And now she's got to go probation.
I think it definitely highlights the seriousness of the modern age of like videotape and like how that lives forever. Like that is going to follow her forever.
It is, but it is 100%.
So my buddy, who's the principal, says this is like the number one thing they have to police.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
He says it's one of the most difficult things to deal with at the school right now is like kids sending each other nudes and stuff of each other.
Yeah.
I mean,
which is probably what you would have done.
I know, but exactly. That's why, it's scary to think about.
That's the number one conversation I have with my kids is I tell them everything.
Don't send your dick, son.
Yeah.
No dick pics.
Everything that you do or receive on your phone is saved and recorded forever.
Yeah.
So you just be very, very careful because it can be used against you, and you can get yourself into really big trouble. And I'm just reminding them because I think that they grow up in this world where they think, oh, it's not a big deal. Just put it out there. I know adults come on. I'm talking to kids. Adults do this shit. I mean, how many adults have sent nude pictures to themselves to some person that they're talking to and honestly thinks that person's not sharing it or showing it to other people? Like, get the fuck out of here. Haven't politicians and stuff gotten in trouble for some of this stuff?
Yeah, didn't Bezos recently?
Yeah, didn't that guy Wiener? His last name was Wiener.
That's right.
He shared his wiener.
Sharing wiener. It's kind of obvious it's going to happen.
Yeah, but I think having the authorities be involved, I mean, that's a little too far, man.
Yeah, I think you make a good point. It being part of the parents' responsibility of how to handle that situation.
Dude. I mean, I don't know. I guess for me, soon to be a parent, I can't really speak on it too much, but I feel like when my boy's a teenager and if he does some shit like this, like I'm gonna feel awful as a parent. Like I dropped the ball.
Right.
I dropped the ball by not being wise enough that this is a serious thing that kids do at this age because they have the ability to. I mean, that's just either one, you're a naive parent or you're disconnected from it.
Look, there's a lot of disconnected parents out there that aren't paying attention to this kind of shit.
And as a parent, you weigh things out. Like I'll tell you guys a story. So when I was, I think I was like 12, my family and my cousin's family all went camping. And we used to bring our BMX bikes to the campsites. It was car camping, right? So you park the car, have the tents and everything. But then there were the woods and stuff. And so my cousin and I were like, hey, we're going to go ride our bikes. We'll be back. And our moms were like, okay, make sure you come back in like a couple hours because we're going to have dinner. No problem. Well, we started riding our bikes through the woods and we legit got lost in the woods. Lost. And we're two city kids. We don't know the fuck we are. So we ended up riding, and we thought to ourselves, if we just keep going down the mountain, at some point we should hit a road, which was actually the smartest thing that I think that we could have done. It worked out for us. 6 hours later, it's dark. We're in the woods. We finally see a road. We hit the road, and we start walking our bikes all the way up. And we're like, if we keep going up on this road, at some point we'll reach a ranger. We'll tell them what's going on. Well, luckily, my dad was driving around looking for us, and he found us, picks us up, takes us in the truck all the way back to the campsite, and
beats the shit out of
No, he had it. They talked to us, but ultimately our parents knew that the punishment was our fucking fear when they saw us.
Yeah, right.
I'm a 12-year-old kid. I've been lost in the woods for 5 hours. You don't need to punish me anymore. And I think with a situation like this, if I had a 16-year-old that did this and it got out to the school and the principal was involved and everything, I would sit down and be like, look,
don't you feel...
isn't the premise of that law to protect minors? Right?
Totally.
And so if the minor's the one that's doing that doesn't seem like that equates to the same degree of punishment.
No, and it doesn't. It's just like drug laws. Like we think to ourselves like, oh, you over there doing drugs, we want to protect you by throwing you in jail and ruining your future opportunities for getting jobs. that doesn't really help them, does it? Like, if we really want to help them, I think there's a different approach.
Again, where are the parents here? I mean, I just don't imagine you skip right to videotaping sex with your boyfriend and send it to your friends, and you didn't do a lot of other shit leading up to that.
Sure.
Like, I mean, the dick pic and booby pics and probably masturbation videos, and there's got to be a whole series of things that lead.
Library.
There's got to be a whole series of things that leads up to. Hey, I got a good idea.
There's an order.
There is. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like your
There's
kid.
heavy petting, then we move our way down.
Right. It's not like I got my iPhone on Thursday. Friday, I'm shooting a porn with my boyfriend. You know what I'm saying? I'm 16. Like, no, she did some shit leading up to all of this before it got to this point.
Perfect lighting.
And where's mom and dad at? Where's mom and dad at with the conversations leading up to this point? I agree with you, though, as far as like, she's probably scared shitless now. It's probably ruined her reputation. She'll probably have to move high schools over it.
Yeah, and she's like, obvious, like these kids, they don't know, like we're trying to protect them from making stupid ass decisions like that. And now you're going to punish her for the rest of her life for something she did as a minor?
I told my son, I've told them this, I said, listen, you send any pictures or you receive any pictures, and if either one of you is underage, technically you could get arrested on child pornography. I told him this. So I'm like, you be very, very careful. But here's the deal. Okay. And this is true for fucking, 40-year-old Sal. But when I was 16 years old, you have me alone with a girl that's 16 and both of us are into each other. My logic is gone. Yeah. I am not logical at all. She could be like, "Hey, let's make a video and put it on broadcast it on TV."
Sure. Yeah,
and I got a boner.
Stream.
Yeah, and I'm 16 with a boner. Yeah. I'm like, sure. Fuck yeah, it's gonna be great.
Let's do this.
Let's show everybody. So I don't feel, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about. When you're in that state of mind,
of course,
of level 10 horny, you're not making good decisions. At all. The problem is now we have
that's why I don't
ability
blame,
to record.
That's why
it.
I don't blame the kid. You know what I'm saying? I don't blame the kid at all.
They just have a good conversation. You got in big fucking trouble. I'm pretty sure she'll learn.
Well, it's like you scare you bring it out there. It's in the news. All that that acts as the deterrent. That's why it's like it's good to have cases that you can, as a parent, you can like point to as like examples to scare the shit out of kids. But like I just don't find it right that you punish the girl like that.
Yeah, no, I don't like it. Anyway, what's this thing about the DOJ going after Google? You were talking. Who's bringing that up earlier? Was that you, Adam?
I was. Yeah, no, I read it in my one of my articles this morning that they're coming after him as like a advertising monopoly. I don't know if it's going to hold any water.
So the Department of Justice is going after them because they think that they're
because they think that Google. I mean, you have Google, Amazon, Facebook. Literally like own like all of advertising, and they're just saying,
the internet.
Yeah, on the internet, and there's what they're trying to claim or what they're trying to say is that they're kind of like a monopoly, and so they're trying to figure a way to break it all up. Now, I think they came after. I believe they did this to Facebook already and Amazon, and have tried to do things like this in the past. And I think they did this with Remember that big Microsoft thing that happened way back when, and that fell through too. They weren't able to say they were a monopoly.
You know how you break up a monopoly on advertising? You come up with a better way to advertise.
I think, and that's their. I think that'll be their argument.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's going to hold water or not.
Because there's no barrier to prevent you from competing. You just have to outcompete them or come up with a way to. And I mean, this is how tech works. This is a new technology, and Google's just doing a fucking good job. That's why they're so dominant. But there are other ways to advertise and put your shit out there. It's just Google's doing a damn good job. I do not know. You know why they do this, right? This is not because the Department of Justice really thinks they're a monopoly and they need to protect us. That's not at all why they're doing it. They're doing this because
they want control.
Google is big and powerful. Facebook is big and powerful. And so every once in a while, it's like the Mafia Don who,
they got to flex a little.
Yeah, they walk into your store and they got the big buff dudes, with the bats or whatever. Like, hey, we're just paying you a visit. I just want to make sure you're doing everything right. What happens if
business is going well? Huh?
Yeah. Okay. Oh no, everything looks good.
Oops.
Yep. We'll see you later. Oops, I broke your window.
Yeah.
So you guys can fix that, right? And you're just like, we better be.
Remember, we'll come by again.
Yeah. That's all it is. But Google does a good job. I mean, what are you going to do? There's other search engines that you could use.
Yeah.
They just suck.
Netscape.
It has to do with that, and they're trying to get in there with the privacy rights and everything too, which. I go back and forth on all this stuff too with advertising. Like it doesn't bother me like it bothers some people. Like some people they see like they get advertised something that they were already looking at and they're like, oh my God, how'd they know that? Are they reading my emails? Are they reading my texts? Are they listening in through my phone? How did it know? And I'm more like this, like, fucking cool. I didn't have to search.
They are.
I didn't have to search for the shit I already.
Yes, and yes.
Yeah, I wanted that shit, and now it's 50% off. It got advertised to me. It knew because I was searching or talking about it yesterday.
Dude, I just was scrolling through Facebook yesterday, and an ad pops up with this T-shirt, and it's got this cool design and whatever. On the back of it, it says DiStefano, and I'm like, what the fuck? They literally changed the shirt. And it's obviously not a shirt. They're changing the ad with my last name. And I'm like, well, that's kind of smart.
It's brilliant. Yeah. It's brilliant. I mean, I can't get away from it. I'm playing my Hearts online, which is through like some other random app. And there's like this real small bar at the top. And the, advertising is constantly getting put up there while you're playing cards. Never used to distract me. Distracts the fuck out of me now because it's all the shit I've been looking at last week.
You know what I wouldn't have a problem with? I wouldn't have a problem with the government just informing us and being like, all right, look, here's what we found that they're doing with your information. It's up to you what you want to do now. That's fine. Like they can't government doesn't do a lot of things very well, but every once in a while they do something that's effective. Like their campaign against cigarette smoking, widely effective. It actually reduced cigarette smoking. They didn't have to ban cigarettes. They just had to tell people, here's what's going on. And they did force, the packaging to change and all that stuff. But I wouldn't mind if they came out and said, hey, here's how they're using your information. Here's where it's going. This is what they're recording. Do what you want. It's totally up to you. I don't mind that, but going after them and trying to apply force, it's just them flexing. It's just a rival gang.
No, it's a rival gang. Well, along the lines of more tech news, I know iTunes, I think today is actually that they have their big annual conference or whatever, and they announced that they are breaking up iTunes officially, which I think has just been a long time coming. I mean, since 2001, they've had.
Oh, you mean they're actually going to put energy into podcasts?
Right. Well, and I think it's just, again, back to like free market and the fact that it's forced them to do that. What's happening? You're seeing companies like the iHeartRadio, you're seeing Spotify, you're seeing all these other platforms come in. I mean, iTunes was one of the first that really revolutionized post Napster era, how we actually were to stream and get and pay for streaming digital media. Well, now you've got all these other platforms that have came out that are very, very niche and focused on areas and better than iTunes was ever. And they've been just kind of chilling on it for a long time now. So now they're going to start to break it up. And
that's good news.
It is good news. It'll be interesting to see what happens with podcasting, what happens with music.
It'd be great if they just like put focus on the user experience, because like to be able to search specific episodes, and that's still a pain in the ass. And it's like all they have to do is just like some minor tweaks, and we'd have a much better experience.
So I believe that's what's happening. I think that's the first step in this whole process is to first divide it all up. Your music, your movies, your podcast, everything, so it has its own separate app.
Yeah, because then you have different functions, right? That are more applicable to whatever they're looking for, like podcasts. Like you said, Justin, it'd be great to search topics among other podcasts. It's kind of difficult to do.
It is,
and I have to reload it all the time. It's such a
a lot of times I'm scrolling. I have to like go through their whole catalog just to find that one episode that person was on.
And it would be great to be able to share sections of a podcast. Like there's times where you're listening to an hour and a half, 3-hour podcast if it's Joe Rogan, and there's a 20-minute clip that I want somebody to hear. Yeah. Like it would be so nice I could just send over right there where they can pick up and listen versus send them a whole episode's 3 hours and say, hey, listen to this when you get 3 hours.
Just ask us, iTunes. We got a lot of ways that we can improve.
We have all
we got the answers. Yeah, and ideas.
So this weekend, guess what I did?
What did you do? Because I did a lot.
So, really?
I did.
Yeah, well, so here's what I did. Probably not as exciting as what you did, but you know how you guys have been hammering me for, 4 years to start watching Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But on all the seasons are over. Show's over now.
Yeah, now it's over. Is it like open season?
So I started the first season. I'm on episode 8, I think, of the first season, and it's not bad. It's not bad.
Are you downplaying it?
No.
It's got cool stuff.
It hasn't totally roped me in yet, so I can't guarantee that I'm gonna keep watching, especially all 8 seasons.
8 episodes in, so how many is it? 10 episodes for the first season?
Yeah, I think it is. And so
let me know after you get done.
Yeah. So it's it's pretty well made. It's not 100% sucked me in yet, but it's
right.
good.
The first season.
You're trying.
The first season is a lot of like,
Bro, let me tell you
you got to
something.
build the characters.
Can I just tell you something though? Jessica and I were just half the time. I had to get over my disgust. That show is all about fucking terrible shit. It's all about incest and weird fucking shit. And
yes, but like look at history. Like how similar is
I don't care. It's
all
still,
those things to like a real history?
it's still terrible.
Of
There was
course it is.
that one episode, you guys probably don't remember, but where they went to the sister of the queen or whatever, and she's weird and she's got her like 9-year-old
Yes, sucking on her
breastfeeding.
boob. I forgot about that.
And
yeah.
he's literally sucking on a nipple, and he comes up. I'm like,
There's some fucked up stuff
they had
in the
some
show.
child actors sucking on a nipple just for this part. I was like, what the fuck,
Yeah, there is moments like that for
dude,
sure.
dude.
Yeah,
terrible.
I mean it's just gonna get more weird.
Yeah,
bro.
come to me after like halfway through season 2 or so, because I feel like the whole first season is like laying the groundwork of the characters, and you're kind of like trying to piece it all
You gotta
together.
get vested into them. And
Yeah,
then,
it's definitely.
I'll keep watching
and
it.
then they fuck with you. That's the best part.
I'll keep watching it.
Speaking of series, I actually I was telling Katrina the other night because we'd finished up another series, and I was like, man, I know like one of our a show that we really like should be coming around by now. I hate when you have to wait like the whole year, right? This is why Netflix was so smart the way they released too the whole season when it does come out. I got hooked last year on one that I never talked about that just season 2 came out just a couple days ago, and it's really good. It's called Bad Blood. I think you guys would like it. It's kind of a Sopranos gangster kind of mafia. It's a Netflix one. It's only on its second.
What's it called?
Bad Blood.
Bad Blood.
And this is the second season?
Yeah, it's just the second season just started. But it's a cool Sopranos type of.
I'll check
I
that
should
out.
check that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just finished the Cobra Kai, their second season.
Is it good?
Yeah, dude, it's so good. I wish it was on another platform because I would bring it up and everybody's like, I don't have YouTube TV. You know, like it is kind of like an exclusive platform, but it was so good. It gives you all the nostalgic feels, just like Stranger Things, but on a Karate Kid level.
Really?
Like all the songs, like all like the funny shit. There's like a lot of like making fun of millennials in it, which is, fantastic.
Yeah.
We're always all that stuff.
We always like to jump on board with that.
Yeah, because we're old guys.
Yeah. Speaking of feels, I watched Aladdin at the theater.
How was that?
Really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Did Will Smith crush it or what?
Will Smith did a phenomenal job. Disney is amazing at casting.
That's right.
They're really good at casting.
The whole experience, sound, the cinematography, everything.
The dance scenes were choreographed incredibly. They were very they stayed to the story, so it's basically the cartoon, but in this form or whatever. But they did a phenomenal job. The characters that play Jasmine and Aladdin, they picked those kids. They picked them perfect. I mean, absolutely perfect. They sang real well. They performed really well. Good looking, fresh faced, Disney style or whatever.
Yeah, I'll have to take the kids to see that.
Yeah, it was really, really good. So I think I mean, it's actually one of those movies that I would not mind. Jessica watched it twice. She watched it with my daughter and then went back and watched it.
Wow,
with
that
me.
good, huh?
That's
cool.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind watching it again.
So we talked about a while ago shooting guns with like the clay pigeons and like going to so I did that Sunday.
Yes.
How was it?
Yeah, I did that with my brother-in-law and like my father-in-law. So it was so epic. Like that's my new passion. Like some people play golf like for the first time and like they get the itch. Like that never happened for me. It was like golf is it's cool, whatever. Like I might have some fun hitting a few shots that are good and then doing shitty the whole rest of the time, But this one was like, oh my God, it was just like everything you'd want at the same time. It's very much like golf to where you have your specific holes where I'm getting the clay is going this direction, that direction at the same time. And it took me a while to warm up the first few, but then I started to get it. And then once I got it, it was just like, bam.
Now, are they far enough to where you have to lead?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you have to be able to calculate.
And some of them are faster than others. It like zips like across and you could barely see it. And some
you
of
have to
them come
know.
slow. Some come over the head.
Oh, they got ones that like one shoots across the ground rolling, two shoot up in the air. You got
So
three
have rabbits too. So they have rabbits that like bounce like on the ground, unpredictable, ways where it just like kind of jumps
my God,
and
that's
stuff.
so cool.
Yeah.
Are you now? You're allowed to take
So
multiple
much fun.
shots when
yeah.
they shoot a bunch of. So you could
two.
boom, boom, boom.
Yeah,
Just two.
Oh, really? Now, what kind of shotgun did they have you guys use?
Well, we all brought. Well, my both brother-in-laws, and my father-in-law brought their guns, so I just used theirs.
Do you know what they were?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
Like I know one was a Remington, but I don't know the brand.
How did you load it, through the side or the bottom?
Both.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm hella down for that.
No, we're going.
It's so much fun.
Now that
dude.
I feel like there's two. Once there's two of us of the four that have done something, I think we could persuade everybody else. Like we're making it happen now.
Yeah, dude, because I've
ready to go
shot
shopping for
pistols.
one.
This was a totally different experience.
It's just
dude.
too
It
close.
was-
We have one in our backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
it's
was
so
like
close to us.
Yeah.
a new sport. Like I could get into it, But yeah, I did that, and then I actually went to a festival. I went to a comedy show. Oh man, like this comedy show was so brutal. I really wanted to support it because there's like a new club that's trying to open up in Santa Cruz, and they don't have any kind of comedy, to go see and visit. But all they had was the local comedians, and so we were just kind of there, like trying to see if it was any good or anything. And they put together kind of an act that was like a show where it was like supposed to be like the end of the world or whatever. They sit us in the front row, and I'm like, oh, okay, of course, because they need people to fill in and all that. So we're trying to be real supportive and give courtesy laughs or whatever, even though it was fucking terrible, right? Half the time. And then there's this guy that's like maybe 4 people over from us that was the biggest heckling piece of shit. Dude.
Oh, no.
Oh my, like almost ruined like the entire thing for everybody. Everybody's just boo, and they kept feeding him instead of ignoring him. They kept feeding him and highlighting him as being an asshole. It was like the most uncomfortable, like I'm a hostage in this place experience ever. It was crazy.
Watching a bad comedy show,
It makes you so uncomfortable.
Oh, it's so rough.
It was the worst. I've never been to one like that.
Oh, when I worked across the street from that comedy club, got to know the owner and GM really well, and they gave me access anytime I want. So like I was in a comedy club like 3 times a week.
Oh, that's rad, dude.
Right. So I was in there all the time, and it was cool. For like a year there, I was like in there every single week, multiple times a week. And it was just a cool thing to meet all these up and coming comedians. And the San Jose one either gets somebody on their upward trend of their career or somebody on the downward. Like if you're big and famous, you're selling out SAP. Like you're not going to a small 150 whatever
like the Cobbs or whatever. You're going to San Francisco.
Right. You're on your way up or you're on your way down in your career. And on your way down sometimes cool because I saw some big name people that were just kind of towards the end of their career and they're still talented and good. But every once in a while you catch somebody who's up and coming and they're amazing before they become famous. But then you see a lot of just people that are trying to get off the ground. And there would be nights, man, where they'd have it like on Wednesday night would be like kind of the amateur night where 5 in a row are like these like comedians just starting, and it's just like painful when they're not getting any laughs. You feel so bad for them.
Bro. And I was trying, like that was the thing, is like I felt like, oh, you're trying, so I want to support you and what you're trying to be funny and all, but like a lot of it, I'm like, did you even write this out ahead of time to like practice or anything? Like it was so bad. Like, but there was 2 guys that actually did have a well-written act, and the headliner was funny, and so we tried to leave on a positive note. But it was like the most. Like I felt just like a prisoner. I couldn't leave because I was in the front row. I wanted to leave.
Dude, I feel so bad for comedians because I think I'm even watching like
it's got to be one of the hardest things to do.
Dude,
I can't imagine.
I can go up and speak in front of an audience, no problem. Like
Make them laugh.
If I'm exactly. If I'm speaking to something that I either feel confident about or I'm passionate about all day, no problem. I'm totally comfortable in that situation. Ask me to get up there and make the whole place laugh and laugh after laugh. Oh my God, that's
a lot of pressure.
Oh, it makes me sweat just thinking about it.
And it's not just trying to make them laugh, because I can make people laugh when they're there to listen to me for information. Going to make people laugh where they're to laugh. Like, okay, make me laugh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's totally different.
More
like,
punchlines.
Yeah, if I'm talking about fitness and I throw in a few zingers, they're not expecting it and they laugh a little bit. Totally different. But if you're sitting there and you're like, people are sitting there and they know, they're like, okay, I'm here to laugh, buddy.
Make me laugh, asshole.
Make me laugh. Holy shit, that's got to be one of the hardest. Comedians say that it requires 10 years.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch Schaub's Showtime yet?
No.
Oh, you guys still haven't seen it yet?
Was it good?
Not yet.
I think he's came a long way from when he first started. I think obviously I liked Joe Rogan's. I mean, way better.
Sure.
I mean,
Rogan's been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, and
he's seasoned.
it was his thing was interesting to me because he plays on stage, you know, because Brendan's making fun of himself. He does it like he talks like he's as if he's like a pussy, and it just I have a hard time allowing. If you didn't know who he was, then maybe like you can get behind the character of him kind of making fun of himself and being kind of a pussy or whatever like that. But I know he's not a pussy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You're a UFC fighter.
Yeah, he's kind of a badass. You know what I'm saying? So it's I guess maybe because I already know him and know what he's done in the past too. It's just kind of hard for me to listen to him stand up there and kind of make fun of himself and make him. But I know he has to humanize himself. So I know if he's going to go somewhere in comedy, you can't come off like as a badass in comedy. Yeah. So I know he's got to try and do that. So it probably is part of this process that he's going through right now.
Yeah, I mean, having no experience except for his podcast and then getting a deal like that.
Right.
Like, I bet you he made a lot of comedians jealous. I'm sure a lot of people have been busting their ass and they see like, oh, now you're up here doing this, you know, because you got a Netflix deal, right? Was it Netflix?
No. It's Showtime.
Showtime deal.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big deal.
Oh, of course.
Guys work their whole careers just to try to score one of those. It's funny. It highlights just how social humans are because we're talking about how uncomfortable we are watching someone bomb. And it's really because we evolved to feel other people's emotions. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not on stage. Why the hell am I feeling this terrible feeling? It happened to me when you know we went to my son's graduation for 8th grade. He went up there and did this like speech on reflecting back, and I was like nervous. And he's my son, so there's a little bit more. But I'm getting nervous. I'm getting nervous for other kids who are going up doing other things too.
100%. I had the same thing because like my son's his championship baseball game was Saturday, and it was back and forth, and there was plays like, please make the play, please. Like I was feeling everything, like I was just beside myself, eating a million seeds, just spitting in there, just like pacing. You know, I couldn't even stand it.
Yeah.
Dude. These kids didn't even have that kind of intensity in this game. I was like going crazy.
Well, that's one of the reasons why sports is so awesome to watch, is because you feel like we're literally evolved to feel what I'm not playing shit. I'm on the couch eating potato chips, but I feel like I just crushed, my opponent because I just watched you play. But anyway, speaking of my son, I wonder how he's. I brought you guys know I brought him to work today.
Yeah, we got him working today. Yeah. He's working hard right now too.
No, so you know what I did? So I had a conversation with him on the way here, and I'm like, yeah, exactly. I said, listen, you've never had your ass beat, have you? No, that's not what happened. I was telling him about when I used to work for my dad. Now he's coming here to work. And he's working directly into Rachel, and I told him you're going to do everything that she says, and she's going to rate you at the end of it, and that's going to tell me whether or not I'm going to let you do certain things when you come back home. And he's kind of like, he's a little bit like I can tell he's kind of like, oh man, it's summertime, and I got to go work. I can't just hang out with my buddies. And I'm like, when I was your age, I used to work the summers with my dad, and it wasn't in a fucking studio. I was outside. I was mixing cement. I had to wake up at 5 a.m. Yep. I had to wash buckets with freezing ass water. I had to, carry buckets of shit in there. If I had to go to the bathroom, I was lucky if there was an outhouse. If there wasn't an outhouse, I had to figure out like what to do. Yeah. You have no idea. I feel like that old man that tells
totally.
The
I had to catch a ride from this guy that worked for my dad at 5 a.m. If I didn't catch it, he would just leave me. One time he left me. Oh, no. And I had to walk home miles, dude. I was like, no. Yeah. That taught me. I was there bright and early from then on. And then the whole rest of the day, I'm loading trucks, just breaking my back, doing all this shit.
So what my boy's doing is he's helping with shipping. So it's it's putting stickers on shit and packing things up or whatever. So I gave him a little bit of the Organifi Pure.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, this will help you focus.
I was gonna say you should tell him he's got full access to the thousands of dollars of supplements.
So I gave him some Amazon. Yeah, and I gave him some Pure, and I asked him earlier. I said, so what did you notice? He's like, I think I was more focused. I felt like I was moving a little faster. I'm like, all right, whatever. We'll mix in some caffeine next time, see what happens when you do it. But yeah, no, I guess he's doing a good job.
So what's the deal? What did you tell him so far? Is this just today? Are you going to do a couple days this week?
No, I'm going to do a few days this week. I'll show you what I sent. I'll read to you what I wrote, what I sent to Rachel. So I first asked her permission because obviously he wouldn't be following me around all day. We're in here podcasting or whatever.
Right.
So I said, you're going to be doing what she wants you to do. I asked her permission. I said, what do you think if my son comes in and just as your assistant and he'll do whatever you want. She's like, no, that's a great idea. So I said, at the end of the day, I want you to rate him on his attitude, his accuracy, his cleanliness, his speed, and then I want an overall score. And I told my son, I said, if you don't get a perfect score, then you get 0 electronics. So if you want to be able to play video games and shit with your buddies or whatever and text them, then you need to get a perfect score. You can't even get one that's below below a 5.
Yeah.
And
Daddy's coming in with a hammer.
You know what though? I think that's totally reasonable.
No,
I think it's perfectly reasonable. Number one, the kids these days are on electronics all the time anyway. I'm not going to feel bad about telling them not to.
No, he's just earning it.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
it's pretty simple.
Yeah, and he got a free lunch too. I just bought him lunch, so there.
There we go.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
And
right.
I fed him.
That's right, kid.
Yeah. And you get electricity. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If you get a perfect score,
A warm blanket.
you get a perfect score, the sheets stay on your bed. No score, you got to sleep on a bare mattress.
Oh man, I remember those days.
Just start.
Bare mattress.
If I didn't make my bed in the morning, my mom would she'd tear all the sheets off my bed.
I was like, box springs. What's that?
Yeah. You know what? It didn't work though, because she'd tear all the sheets off, and I'd just get on the bed and just put them on me and go to sleep. She's got to take it to the next level.
This Quaz brought to you by Organifi. For those days you fall short on getting your organic veggies or whole food nutrition, Organifi fills the gap with laboratory-tested certified organic superfoods to help give your health and performance the added edge. Try Organifi totally risk-free for 60 days by going to Organifi.com. That's ORGANIFI.com. And use the coupon code MINDPUMP for 20% off at checkout. All right, our first question is from Just a Boy and his dad. I know how you guys feel about Olympic lifts with a barbell. What are your thoughts on the kettlebell versions of those two exercises? Does the lower barrier to entry, form-wise, give them a place in people's workouts?
Okay.
First of all, I want to, because I feel like he's assuming that like we're anti Olympic lifts.
I think he means, well, our position's always been that they're extremely complex, technical exercises that, when performed perfectly with good mobility and good form, are phenomenal exercises. The problem is to get to the point where you can perform them perfectly, because they're so technical and they require so much skill and mobility that we don't often recommend them. And they are exercises that if you do wrong a little bit, the risk of injury is high. Unlike other exercises.
Yeah, and actually, Mike Salemi and I, he actually went over this in terms of like how to like prep yourself into getting into like cleans and snatches by using, like high pulls and these things with kettlebells and getting familiar with, that expression of power and that, that transfer of force and being able to control all that. And the kettlebells are great for that because it's central. Your load is very central to your body, which is more safe. Yeah, it's more safe. It's better for you to be able to handle and to be able to guide it more effectively without putting your limbs. The further your limbs get away from your body, the more we're at risk.
Well, not to mention it's more constricted on a barbell too. There's more room for play with a kettlebell.
Yes, you have to follow a very vertical line, and your body has to follow the bar. Versus with the kettlebell, you can sort of manipulate that, and it's not going to get away from you quite as much.
Yeah, it's easier to learn how to do a proper kettlebell movement, like a snatch or a clean, than it is to do with a barbell. But I do want to be clear, that doesn't mean it's easy.
No, still
it's
hard.
easier, but it's still very complex.
It's a great place though.
There's steps. Yeah,
I think you. I think you're starting with like a PVC pipe and working in conjunction with kettlebells way before you progress to barbell Olympic lifts.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to see that with a client. Like, okay, here's where we're here. I'd like to show them like with a PVC pipe so they can see. And I am no expert in this, and I've expressed that before that I wouldn't even be someone who taught this. But if I were to teach it, I would be showing the mechanics with a PVC pipe so they understand what we're aiming for. And then a lot of the practice and the skill would be with like kettlebells, I think.
Yeah, really. I mean, it's working on that triple extension and what that looks like. A lot of people, it takes a long time to even establish that part first. So like you're saying a dowel bar or like having a kettlebell to be able to get through that just one part of the movement is, where you want to start. So yeah, I definitely don't want to deter people from trying to learn the skill of it. I think that's great to work your way up towards something like an Olympic lift or something along those lines where you really do like it's a great exercise for its intent and to be able to show and display like a controlled, powerful movement that your body can produce. So, but there are like, you just have to do your diligence of like starting out in segmenting it so you can accomplish each part of that movement efficiently.
It takes a long time. It takes a long time to get someone to be able to do an Olympic lift properly with the right mobility and stability and strength and technique. It takes a long time. It could take somebody who it could take an athlete with decent movement and mobility a year just to be able to get good at doing it. And here's what I like about kettlebells. I love the kettlebell swing. The kettlebell swing is, yes, it's still technical, so I'm not saying it's easy, but it's far easier than an Olympic lift. And so if you want a client to gain some of the benefits of doing an explosive hip hinging type movement, kettlebell swing is a great movement because it's easier to learn. If you're off by a little bit, it's not as dangerous as if you're off by a little bit with a barbell. It's still bad, just not as scary or as bad. And it's just an easier way to learn, and you get a lot of benefits. Like, here's the thing about Olympic lifting. You know, what are the carryovers? You get explosive, but a lot of the carryovers are specific to the barbell lift itself, the technique that's involved. If you just want that explosive hip hinging movement, you'll get that with a kettlebell swing if you practice that and do it properly. And it requires, again, it's a lower, just like the words, I like the word he used here, it is a lower barrier to enter. It is a lower barrier to get into explosive hip hinging movements.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think that's the greatest thing that the kettlebell provides is that ability to express that powerful hip hinging movement in a controlled fashion. Like you can really control that process the more you refine it, and it's relatively safe if you're not in a compromised position with your back.
Well, to Sal's point about how great a kettlebell swing is for like a hip hinge, I think the important part of somebody who's thinking about doing Olympic lifts or wanting to do that is really understanding their why of why they want to do it. I think sometimes we see stuff on Instagram or we hear these people doing something and you go, oh, I want to do that. And you just want to do it to want to do it.
Right.
And that's something that can be really dangerous when you're talking about that type of a lift. And if you don't have the prerequisites to do that lift, probably not a good idea. But really unpacking the whole purpose behind why you want to do that, because there's lots of other exercises that have lots of benefits that are also in the Olympic lift. It just happens to combine a lot in one. That's what makes it so incredible is it's such a complex movement that you get this great expression of mobility and power and stability and hip hinge. Like you get all this great all into one movement. It's like, wait a second. That's what makes it so special is it's a great expression of all of those in a single movement. But if your goal is to get good at expressing all those things, you can actually unpack it and break each one of those components down and get really good at your mobility just by doing a lot of other things. Get really good at hip hinging from a bunch of other things. There's a lot of things that you can get great at expressing power and triple extension by doing it in a lot of different ways than going right to a barbell Olympic lift. It's like understand your why. Why am I doing this? Unpack that and go, okay, let's start to segment these different parts that are so great about the Olympic lift.
I could easily validate the need for like a power clean for football in that first play, that first snap, like who snaps off the ball the quickest and throws their arms up. Like that is part of football. That is like you could see that directly translate, and to be able to do that and then now work on loading that sequence makes a lot of sense to me. Versus overhead snatch didn't make any sense. Like now we're just getting too fancy. Yes, it's the difficulty goes way up, the risk factor goes way up. I'm not going to put my athletes in that kind of a risk position, but I do definitely see the value of that movement just for Olympic lifting, though.
You know what's interesting too is when you look at the way that the kettlebells and Olympic lifts have been trained historically. Olympic lifts, because of their skill and technique involved, historically have never been trained to fatigue. There's never been, until CrossFit came along, there's never, which I completely disagree with, there's never been an Olympic lift-based sport where you're doing as many as you can for time. It just doesn't exist. Olympic lifts are, if you watch Olympic lifters train, like real Olympic lifters, it's you're using suboptimal or weight that's way lower than your max, and you're practicing the technique and the speed. It's all about the form and the technique for the most part. And really, you're only really maxing out when you're competing, and you're doing one rep. It's not reps after reps.
Right.
Now, kettlebells, historically, competitions are all based around stamina, lots of them, where they're swinging for minutes and minutes and minutes for fatigue. Now, what does that tell you about the two movements? Well, it tells you that the kettlebell has a lot more give. There's a lot less risk of injury versus the Olympic lifts. If you Olympic lift to fatigue and you're doing 10-minute sets of Olympic clean and presses, I bet you the risk of injury is way higher. People would be hurting themselves at way higher rates than with kettlebells. And I'm not saying kettlebells are risk-free by any means, but when you look at the way that they've been used,
versatile.
Right. So if you like to do hip hinging as part of your fatigue-based programming, kettlebell swings far more appropriate.
And to that point too, like there's two different styles. So there's more of a hard style,
Right.
which is that like pure expression of power and like tight controlled power versus like the endurance where you're like managing your energy throughout that entire process.
Sure.
So there's just a little bit of like nuances there that again, we have this like these videos on our YouTube if you want to check them out.
Next question is from M. Letkowski. What is a good way to strengthen bones? A personal trainer told me that I have low bone density according to one of those handheld devices and told me I should sprint. I don't want to hurt myself, and sprinting is a skill I don't have. My grandma had osteoporosis, so it is something I do think about wanting to prevent.
What handheld device tells us bone density?
I think he's full of shit or she's full of crap. I don't think there is a handheld device that measures bone density. Anyway,
What?
Yeah,
like,
terrible.
Like a grip?
Terrible.
Device? Like, I don't
terrible advice because yes, sprinting has been shown to increase bone density, especially in the lower extremities. But you want to know what's better than sprinting?
Bro,
Lifting weights.
build some muscle
Yeah,
to support the bones.
There is nothing better at building bone strength than consistent shear tension and force, like the one you get from resistance training. And resistance training is far safer than sprinting because sprinting, and I'm glad that this person said this, that it's a skill I don't have, sprinting requires a lot better mobility and skill than just traditional resistance training will, especially because resistance training I really modify for the individual. A sprint is a sprint. And if a person has bad running mechanics, it's not a good idea. But lifting weights, boy, I'll tell you what, look, here's the deal. We know lifting weights builds muscle. That muscle is anchored onto what? Your bones. And if those muscles are pulling and on the bones and getting stronger, your bones are going to respond by getting stronger. And I'll go out on a limb and say that there is no form of exercise that's more effective for bone density than resistance training. I had a client a while ago who actually hired me for the purpose of reversing her osteopenia, and nothing she had done had worked. She tried walking and, of course, calcium supplements and magnesium supplements, vitamin D. They even had her taking this really strong immunosuppressive drug. I forgot the name of it to help. And really, none of them really worked a whole lot. And she was losing. And she was a small-framed, lighter individual. So she wasn't a big, heavy person. She didn't like to eat a whole lot or whatever. And she was older. She was in her late 60s. And finally, out of desperation, she came and hired me as a personal trainer. And we were so effective at stopping and reversing her bone density loss that her doctors actually used her as a case study and put it out to Stanford University and said, look at this person. Look how much her bone density has changed over the last 2 years that she's been doing weight training. And I would do appropriate heavy lifting with her. And I say it's appropriate because she was an older person and she didn't have a lot of strength. But it made a huge difference. And it's just like anything else. If you send the signal for your body to adapt, it will adapt. So taking all the calcium and supplements in the world aren't going to build bone if the body doesn't want to build bone. And resistance training does that better than anything. Sprinting will too, but what is sprinting more like? It's more like lifting weights than regular running is, right? It's an explosive movement. it's that anaerobic type of activity.
Not to mention, it could potentially be counterproductive in the pursuit of building muscle too.
So, if you do too much of it.
Yeah, no. If you're doing a ton of sprinting and you're not eating and training enough, then it could be counterproductive because you're not building muscle. And building muscle will be one of the best things you can do to support this.
And plus, it's when you have bone loss, it typically it can happen through the whole body, especially as it progresses. Sprinting mainly improves bone density in the lower extremities. There is some carryover to the rest of the body, which is kind of cool, just like there is with resistance training. But it's not as effective as it is for the direct areas that are being affected, which is the lower extremities. Well, guess what's awesome about resistance training? You work out your whole body. So you can strengthen your spine, you can strengthen your ribs, your shoulders, your arm bones, your leg bones, your hands, your feet, your hips, just by doing resistance training for the whole body. So it's funny to me that a trainer especially is like, hey, your bone density's low, which I really would like to see this handheld device. Doug pulled one up, but I don't know how accurate it is.
Yeah, well, I've never even heard of that.
It's funny that a trainer wouldn't say, come lift weights with me.
Yeah.
That would be the first thing that I would, and it's traditional resistance training. Train for strength. That'll give you the best effect. The circuit type stuff, you'll get somewhat of an effect, but it's not going to be as
it's just so much more versatile.
This sounds like one of those tools that like the commercial gyms insert to find ways to drive more revenue streams. So it's like, oh, I already have this client. They're already weight training with me. Let's check out our bone density test. Oh, shit, looks like you don't have good. That means you need to take this supplement, right. And then we're going to add sprinting into your routine. Yeah. That's what that sounds like.
No, it's funny. They used to recommend calcium like crazy for people to prevent. And what they found with the calcium is it didn't prevent. And it actually started to, you started to see calcium deposits in people's arteries, which can be a bad thing. What they found was that, and if I'm wrong, my apologies, but I'm relatively positive that the studies show that vitamin D has the greatest effect on bone. And so, if you're somebody that is, if you don't want to get osteoporosis and it runs in your family, or if you're already showing some bone density issues, I would supplement with vitamin D, or better yet, get lots of sunlight and lift weights. You combine those two things, and that's probably your best chances of strengthening your bones.
Next question is from Alejandro Sanchez. Takes photos. If someone gets to the gym and they aren't feeling it but want to get their lift on, what would you recommend?
That's kind of tough.
Yeah.
This depends on. I hate when we have to start with the sentence like that, but I mean, I feel like if I'm, there's been many versions of me since this show has started, and all different versions respond differently to this feeling in this moment. If I'm getting to the gym and I have this feeling that I don't really want to lift, but I need to get it on, and I have serious fitness goals, like I'm trying to make crazy gains because I'm in compete mode. I'm pushing through this at the cost of potential health and rest and all other things. If I'm increase testosterone levels naturally, and that's more of a priority than the way my body looks to everybody else, I might choose to rest here. I mean, this is, and then also I'm also questioning myself because I'm very careful about how I respond to a question like this, because there's lots of different types of people that could be hearing this right now. And I've had the client who looks for any excuse not to work out, so, they don't feel good.
What should I do?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that they're looking for a reason to not train because it was a long, stressful day at work. And so therefore today the kids stressed me out today. Therefore I don't work out. I didn't get the greatest sleep last night, so I didn't work out again. And some of them use these moments as excuses not to lift, and that person probably needs to lift here.
That's a great point.
Yeah, I think too, it's like between it being a psychological issue versus like your body's like really telling you like, I'm tired, I'm beat up, like I like physically don't feel like I want to do this workout. Like there's a distinctive difference for me, like going into the gym, and if it's a psychological issue like that, that's something that I'm trying to check into, work my way through, but maybe not start initially with like ramping the intensity like I would if I was feeling great and charged. But like I'm always like balancing those two things. Like, is it really my body that needs the rest, or is it like my mind that is just not there?
Yeah, I rarely tell people to completely take the day off from working out because there's so much you can do to modify your workout. Look, here's a related example. It won't sound like it, but it is. When you look at birth control, the classical birth control pills, you'll see that the old way was they recommended that women took a pill every day, and then 7 days out of every month they would go off birth control to initiate a period or whatever, right? But did they tell women to stop taking the pill on those 7 days? No, they kept taking a pill. It was just a placebo. They actually put a fake birth control pill in the cycle. Now, why did they do that? Because studies show this consistently, that when people get into a rhythm and then they stop that rhythm, they forget or they just stop doing it. So that's why I usually tell people not to take the gym, take it off. Now, if you're a fanatic like we are, not a big deal to take the day off. But most people, I say, no, go to the gym and go easy. Just go easy, work on mobility. I did this the other day. The other day, I was tired. I didn't get good sleep the night before, and I knew I had to go work out. So what I did is I went to the gym, and I told myself, I'm going to use 50% of the weight that I normally use, and I'm going to focus heavily on the range of motion and
movement
and the squeeze.
Yeah.
And I had a great workout. I didn't have to expend a lot of energy. I had a great workout. I got a good pump considering I wasn't feeling it. And it was just I changed it. I changed it because I wasn't really feeling it. So rarely do I recommend people don't go because you got to stay keeping that rhythm, rhythm.
There's plenty of restorative movements that you could work on, and that the gym has all that there at its disposal. So yeah, just changing and shifting your your intent with your workout would be everything for that.
And exercise done appropriately can help facilitate recovery. So if you're like, even when people tell me I'm so sore from the workout that I did yesterday, I'm really, really sore, I'm feeling run down, should I still go to the gym? I'll say, yeah, go to the gym, use really light weight, go super easy, and just focus on full range of motion. It's going to actually help you with your recovery and make you feel better, and it keeps you on the routine.
Right. When was the last time that you know somebody who felt like this and then decided and then switched over and did a whole hour of mobility work? Like, how many people need that?
Everybody.
Like, how many people listening right now could totally benefit from a full hour of pure mobility type of work? So I would normally urge someone. I would rarely ever tell someone to take it off unless I'm talking to somebody who is a gym fanatic, and they're, i.e., my peers, my competitors that are.
They're the ones that could take a day off,
right? Because they have an obsession with working out to where they have almost a bad relationship with exercise to where they can't not work out. So it's good to tell that person. So you really have to have a come to Jesus with yourself here and figure out where you're at in your journey, and are you the person who's more likely to overdo it and overtrain, and do you need a scaled back day?
So much of fitness consistency is momentum. I know I don't take a lot of time off from the gym, but I know I've had injuries, and even for me, getting back to the gym, it feels like I got to get the ball rolling again. Right. So if you want to maintain your consistency, I would not take a day off. I'd go there and go easy. Like, don't lose the momentum. Like, once you lose that and Pete, you guys know what I'm talking about. People listening,
100%.
Yeah, people listening right now, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Think about the last time you stopped working out. Something happened. I couldn't make it to the gym. I was on vacation, and then I just never went back. You lost that momentum. So keep that momentum and just adjust the workout accordingly.
Next question is from Ander Beth. Here's the scenario: you have a day to eat whatever you want with no consequences. What do you eat for each meal?
This is every day for Justin. This is every day for Justin.
No consequence. I never have consequences. I might have things I got to deal with, every now and then. But
this is
like judgment.
This is a funny question because it's strange. First off, I do eat whatever I want.
Yeah.
This kind of a question, it's the reason the way it's posed. It makes me think of how many people have poor relationships to food, where it's almost like, hey, if you could have sex with as many people as you want and your girlfriend would never find out and there'd be no consequences, who would you like? Okay, the only reason why I don't eat this kind of food is not even necessarily for the consequences. Like, I'm fully aware I actually enjoy the food that I eat because of all the other benefits it gives me. And if I want to have a donut or a burger, I'm going to have it. So it's just an interesting question. You know what I mean? It's almost like people feel like they eat healthy, but it's not what they really want, which isn't true. The truth is you do want to eat healthy. You're just not fully acknowledging that you like the taste of other food, but you don't really want to eat it because you know it's not good for you. And that's okay. I think people confuse that and think, I really want this, but I'm forcing myself to do this. And oh my God, if I had a magic pill or magic wand, then I could do whatever I want and I get caught.
Yeah, this just feeds into the punishing yourself sort of mentality. And like, same thing with exercises. Like, I ate this, so therefore I need to run this amount to be able to burn this off and, you know, pay penance for my sins, you know. And I think with food, if we can step outside of that cycle, like that's everything. Like, and that's something we always try and stress, but it is one of those things. It's like if you really want something and it's drawing you, you know, so much to go consume it, like you have to evaluate like what is that? What's that mechanism that's driving you and pulling you so hard to like enjoy this forbidden pleasure? You know,
it's
like
the restriction.
Yeah,
it's the restriction, and it's what do they say? What you resist persists. It's like because you've restricted yourself and you act like your own tyrannical dictator. So like you separate, because think about it, you do separate yourself. You say, I can't have that. I can't have that. So, what do you mean you can't? Yeah. You know, of course you can. So it's like you're oppressing yourself. That's how you're viewing it, at least. That's how you're treating it. So it makes that food even more, what's the word? Even more alluring, even more mysterious, and oh my God,
because you can't.
And
it gives it more power.
And so you ask questions like this, like, could you imagine without any consequences, like if I could just do whatever I wanted? Like, okay, you're making it a bigger deal than it is, and part of it is because you're viewing food in a way that's probably not ideal or healthy.
This person hates this answer.
I was just going to say, so
they want
Beth,
like
now
pizza.
Now that we're done lecturing you, I'll give you just a crazy day of eating. Which, by the way, I've done this before. So if I really wanted to, I too would do this. But I would start my morning off with a stack of pancakes smothered with peanut butter and syrup, and then I would have a biscuits and gravy to wash that down. And then for lunch, I would have burger and fries for sure. And then dinner, it would be brisket with mashed potatoes and then red velvet cake for dessert.
Ooh.
That's just
wow. Okay, so we're gonna be real here.
Yeah,
right, let's go down the rabbit hole, huh? I'll
Pizza
totally do like a
with
Belgian waffle with like nothing but like a ton of butter on top, you know, and just drizzle the shit out of it with syrup, and you know, wash that down with a huge coffee. And then we're going to go for lunch. I'm going to have like a tri-tip sandwich from that place in San Luis Obispo. Add some cheese in there, though. They never have cheese in it. I don't know why.
That doesn't make any sense. They should have cheese in there.
They should,
for
right?
a tri-tip sandwich, I don't put cheese on my tri-tip.
No, they usually don't, which I'm okay with it, but it would just enhance it is all. That's all I'm saying. Try it out.
Everything is better with cheese.
It just enhances it.
Everything is better with cheese.
Cheese or bacon, those are like your enhancers.
We're going to make you a T-shirt that says that.
Everything's better with cheese. And then, for dinner, probably a deep dish pizza from Chicago. Duh. That's like that would kill me. That whole day, I think I would have to. I don't know. Recover. For
Let me think. If
month.
I could eat anything with no consequences, the hearts of my enemies. That'd be awesome. Yeah, have a consequence.
Probably ice cream or dairy related. I would think.
You know,
you got to miss dairy sometimes.
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal, to be quite honest. I mean, pizza. I really enjoy pizza quite a bit. Yeah, I learned a long time ago, like the wanting is actually more than the having. Do you guys remember the first time you learned that? Were you like, oh my God, I want to have that food? So then you have it. You're like,
that's part of the swing.
I don't even like candy, dude.
That's part of the swing that you guys that you have been through, which makes it difficult to answer a question like this, is because you've gone through this whole phase of being able to intuitively eat for so long that you have now connected the dots to so many other things than just the pleasure of the food. So it's hard.
Yeah, so I value it for so many other things.
Right. So since you've done such a good job, it's actually very hard to like. I just named all those things off, but
you can have those all now if you want.
Right. Yeah. But I wouldn't, because I also know what my sleep would look like that night.
Exactly.
I know she's saying without all the consequences. I get that, but it's too late. Now we've already made the connections of how good eating well makes you feel.
Not only that, but now that you know that and we've made that connection, right? Do you not imagine if you ate every day with no consequences? Would you still throw days in with lots of vegetables and healthy foods? I would, because now I enjoy them differently.
Yeah.
I enjoy them now. I've already created those connections. You know what I'm saying? I remember when Justin went carnivore, the thing that he continued to, every day he would come in on carnivore and talk about how much he craved vegetables.
Yeah.
Of all the things that he wasn't eating,
Yeah.
vegetables is what he craved the most, which was hilarious.
It was funny, but it was true. Like I literally every day, like I would just think about it. I started to dream about it even just because I guess it was because it was so restrictive. You know, it was like I knew it was just meat, and it was like it's one of those things that started out kind of great, but then it just, oh man, like just having one thing, it's not sustainable.
Yeah. Anyway, and with that, go to mindpumpfree.com and download our guides. They're all absolutely free. Also, check us out on Instagram. We all have our own individual pages. You can find Justin at mindpumpjustin. You can find me at mindpumpsal, and you can find Adam at mindpumpadam.
Thank you for listening to Mind Pump. If your goal is to build and shape your body, dramatically improve your health and energy, and maximize your overall performance, check out our discounted RGB Super Bundle at mindpumpmedia.com. The RGB Super Bundle includes MAPS Anabolic, MAPS Performance, and MAPS Aesthetic. 9 months of phased expert exercise programming designed by Sal, Adam, and Justin to systematically transform the way your body looks, feels, and performs. With detailed workout blueprints and over 200 videos, the RGB Super Bundle is like having Sal, Adam, and Justin as your own personal trainers, but at a fraction of the price. The RGB Super Bundle has a full 30-day money-back guarantee, and you can get it now plus other valuable free resources at mindpumpmedia.com. If you enjoy this show, please share the love by leaving us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes and by introducing Mind Pump to your friends and family. We thank you for your support, and until next time, this is Mind Pump.